for Benjamin Knight Fuchs live on your favorite platform. We're streaming live, people. We're streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook. So put your questions and comments in our chat, and we'll be so happy to answer them. This is your chance to talk to Ben personally and get your questions answered. Benjamin, how are we doing today?
Gallegos, que pasa? What's going on, Liam? How you feeling?
Doing great.
Good?
Yeah.
All right.
A busy week. So, looks like today we are going to be talking about the vagus nerve. So the question everybody's will be wanting to know is, what happens in the vagus nerve? Does it stay in the vagus nerve?
I was waiting for you to make a funny joke about that.
Does it translate into other systems in the body? So
vagus actually means wanderer, like vagrant.
Okay.
Right? We get vag means to travel, I suppose. So the vagus nerve is the wandering nerve. It's the longest of the cranial nerves. You got 12 nerves that originate in the brain. They're called the cranial nerves. The 10th cranial nerve is the vagus nerve, and it runs through the whole body. Put that first slide up so we could show the folks what that looks like. So it starts off in the brain, and then it goes all the way down to the large intestine. And all of the organs in between, which is basically all your organs, are innervated by the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is responsible for the relaxation response. And learning how to activate the vagus nerve is a very important part of health, because activating the vagus nerve or strengthening the vagus nerve counteracts the stress response. Under conditions, under regulation of the stress response, a lot of yucky things happen. For one thing, the immune system is suppressed, and we become prone towards all kinds of immune problems, including cancer, when this stress response nervous system is activated. And the vagus nerve can tell it to stand down, so it can support your immune system and support immune health and protect you from cancer, which is basically a problem with the immune system, the result of a problem with the immune system. The vagus nerve also activates the digestive system, as you can see there in the center of the body. So digestive health is regulated by the vagus nerve. Cardiovascular health, the heart rate and cardiovascular functioning is regulated by the vagus nerve. Breathing is regulated by the vagus nerve. Swallowing, and that's going to be very important here in a moment, swallowing and control of the mouth area is regulated by the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is associated with what's called the rest and digest response, as opposed to the fight or flight response. You have these two basic movements in the body. You have the fight or flight movement, sympathetic nervous system movement, and then you have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is activated by the vagus nerve, which is your rest and digest nervous system. Well, where do you suppose you want to spend most of your time? Resting and digesting, not fighting or fleeing. There's a really cool book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And in this book, a behavioralist PhD guy named Robert Sapolsky talks about how zebras don't get ulcers and wild animals don't get ulcers because they don't really have stress. They either they have threats to their lives, and they either survive those threats or they don't survive those threats. But either way, they're not going to be dealing with too much of a stress response, because they're either going to be eaten or they're going to either not be eaten. Only animals with higher cognitive functionings deal with worry and anxiety, predicting the future. This end up in this these circumstances or experience of never-ending stress. So learning to activate the parasympathetic nervous system by strengthening the vagus nerve is really important. I'll show you a couple of things, a couple of reasons why it's important when it comes to health. But this idea of strengthening the nervous system strengthening the vagus nervous system or the vagus nerve is called vagal tone, or strengthening vagal tone. You'll hear this term bandied about vagal tone if you go on the internet or you go on YouTube. There's all kinds of books now being written about how you strengthen your vagal tone. I'll talk about that here at the end, but here's a couple of things. Here's a couple of reasons why you really want to strengthen your vagal tone. This is from the New York Times. This nerve influences every internal organ in the body. Can it improve our mental state too? You better believe it can. Obviously, if you're under stress, you're not going to have a really healthy mental state. When we're under stress, when our stress nervous system is being activated, blood goes from the front of the brain to the back of the brain where your fear response is, and that kicks in the whole sympathetic fight or flight scenario. So this nerve influences every internal organ: the pancreas, the liver, the intestines, both intestines, the stomach, the heart, the lungs, the spleen. All of these are, to one degree or another, influenced by the vagus nerve, by the vagus nerve. And it should come no surprise that mental health issues are also associated with vagal tone or the lack thereof. Go to the next slide, Liam. This is the article that was published in the journal Hypertension Research, the effect of stimulating the vagus nerve. Scientists are now figuring out that if they can electrically stimulate the vagus nerve, they could get various, they can improve various biochemical or biological markers. So for example, this is done on rats, effective vagal nerve stimulation on blood pressure. Blood pressure dropped, heart rate improved, respiratory rate improved. And this was done on rats who were put on a beta blocker drug, a heart drug, or a blood pressure drug called metoprolol. So they gave these rats metoprolol, and then they gave them vagal nerve stimulation. And what they noticed was that they got better benefits from the drug without any toxicity. So vagus nerve stimulation improved the effects, the relaxing effects, I guess you could say, of this prescription drug metoprolol. And so the next step is now scientists are looking to see if they can use vagal nerve stimulation without metoprolol. This is a quote from the conclusions on the study. Vagal nerve stimulation can lower blood pressure and heart rate under metoprolol without causing severe bradycardia. Bradycardia means a slowing down of the heart. And not significantly stimulate other cardiac fibers, making it a potential antihypertensive treatment option, even in combination with beta blockers. So in other words, it doesn't add to the poison or the adverse reactions or the toxicity associated with the beta blocker. It just gives you better benefits. You can put the next article up there. Vagus nerve stimulation for treatment of depression. Well, people who are depressed are dealing with, believe it or not, even though it doesn't seem like depression would be a part of the stress response, because when you're depressed, you're not exactly hyper, don't have anxiety, but indeed it turns out that depression is associated with the stress response. Guess what? Vagus nerve stimulation is being examined as a treatment for depressions that are resistant to other strategies, particularly to pharmacology. Again, you're just stimulating the nervous system. You're not doing anything. You're not creating any kind of toxicity, any kind of poison, any kind of a toxic wake for the body to have to deal with in its aftermath. You're simply stimulating the vagus nerve. And we're going to talk about some ways to stimulate the vagus nerve without having any kind of invasive electrical stimulation. Next slide, next picture. Transcutaneous vagal nerve stimulation, that is through the skin, stimulating the vagus nerve through the skin. They're using it to treat Alzheimer's disease. This article is especially interesting because it involves the gut microbiome. And as it turns out, no surprise, there's a very important relationship between the microbiome and Alzheimer's disease. I've been saying this for years. Like all health challenges, Alzheimer's disease, dementias, cognitive disorders, memory problems, age-related or not age-related, have to be backtracked like every other chronic health condition to the intestine. The vagus nerve regulates the intestine. And under conditions of poor vagus tone, you get a different composition of the microbiome. It turns out that by stimulating the vagus nerve, you improve the composition of the microbiome, and you also improve the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, Alzheimer's dementia, which is dementia that's not related to accelerated age or old age. It's when you have dementia at a young age, in your 50s or 60s, they call it Alzheimer's. A lot of people don't know the difference between Alzheimer's and regular dementia. Dementia is something that happens as we get older. Alzheimer's dementia is a disease that happens to younger people. And by younger, I mean maybe late 40s, 50s, late 50s kind of thing. So vagus nerve stimulation for dementias and for Alzheimer's disease by virtue or via the action on the digestive system and on the intestine and the gut microbiome. Next one there, Liam. Obesity. By the way, I was going to do our talk today on Ozempic. I saw a guy yesterday. I was at a little party yesterday, and this guy lost 30 pounds. I asked him how he did it. He said he did it with Ozempic. And I was going to go on here and I was going to rip on Ozempic and talk about how there's better strategies, and there are better strategies. But you know what? After talking to my friend Art, He lost 30 pounds. He's very happy. He does have to do Ozempic once a month. He has to inject himself with Ozempic once a month. It costs about $1,000 a month. There's some downsides to it. Of course, it's a drug, so you're going to have toxicity. But the guy lost 30 pounds. So God love him. It's not a perfect solution. Ideally, Ozempic works by improving your body's insulin response. So there's ways to improve your body's insulin response that don't require pharmacology, that don't require costs, that don't require medical intervention that we can do from the comfort of our own kitchens and living rooms and bathrooms. And I'll talk about that maybe next week. But as it turns out, vagal stimulation can have is being studied to improve the symptoms of obesity. Go to the next slide there, or improve obesity. This is from The Guardian. The key to depression, obesity, and alcoholism, the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is associated with addictive behaviors, or poor vagal tone is associated with addictive behaviors. So strengthening the vagus nerve may help you with alcoholism. It may be able to help you with cigarette smoking or tobacco addiction or any other kind of drug addiction. But when you think about it, that kind of makes sense. Because when people are resorting to alcohol or resorting to opiates or prescription drugs or non-prescription downers or whatever kind of drugs they're usually taking to deal with anxiety issues. They're usually dealing to take with as some kind of coping strategy. We don't have to cope from a strong vagus nerve. We have to cope from a weak vagus nerve. So by strengthening the vagus nerve, you may be able to, at least scientists are exploring the possibility, reduce people's dependence on drugs, which are being taken, presumably, at least partially, to do the same thing. So learning to strengthen the vagus nerve may help you wean yourself off of addictive drugs, not to mention it can help you with depression and obesity and your heart rate and intestinal functioning and a whole slew of other health challenges. Next one. Is it the last one?
This would be the last one of the presentation.
So that quoting from this last study that we talked about, transcutaneous vagal nerve stimulation demonstrated potential in treating epilepsy, depression, and migraines, and cognitive impairment, including the cognitive impairment of Alzheimer's disease. So what do you do if you want to strengthen your vagus nerve? Do you have to have transcutaneous electrical stimulation? You have to go to some laboratory and have them plug you into some kind of electrical stimulator? No, there's lots of ways to do it. The vagus nerve can be stimulated by various behaviors, various lifestyle activities, I guess you could say. For one thing, the vagus nerve, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest nervous system, can be activated by slowing down. When the body moves really fast, the brain thinks it's in an emergency state. Slowing down does a few things. Number one, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system and strengthens the vagus nerve. And this idea of strengthening the vagus nerve and improving vagus tone should be thought of kind of like exercise. So you can build your tone in your muscles by lifting weights. You can build your vagus tone by doing some of these strategies that we're talking about here. And your vagus will be stronger, and it will be better able to deal, or you'll be better able to deal with the inevitable vicissitudes, the ups and the downs and the stresses that living on planet Earth entail, as a human being entail. So activating the relaxation response is a great way to improve vagus tone. And one of the things you can do is move really slowly. You ever see those people in the park in the morning doing this? They call it Tai Chi. You ever see that? You know, moving really slowly. That's actually a martial art. And that is a wonderful way to activate the parasympathetic nervous system and strengthen the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve also controls the mouth, and it controls eating and swallowing behavior. You can actually touch your vagus nerve in two places. One place you can actually touch your vagus nerve, not literally the nerve itself, but you can contact the skin where the vagus nerve is located proximal to or close to by touching the top of your mouth with your tongue. If you touch the top of your mouth with your tongue, Liam, you could try this. You'll feel a hard palate in the front. Feel a hard palate in the front, right? And then somewhere in the back, it gets soft, right? Mm-hmm. That's the soft palate. Mm-hmm. So right where the hard palate meets the soft palate is the top of your vagus nerve.
Wow, cool.
And isn't that cool? And if you press there, you'll activate the vagus nerve. You can actually feel a relaxation response while you're doing it, while you're pressing there. you're activating the vagus nerve. You can also do it by humming. There's a friend of mine named Jonathan Goldman who wrote a book called The Humming Effect. And it's all about the importance of humming and the health benefits of humming. And now these days, if you go online, you'll see a lot of health benefits associated with humming. Well, humming vibrates that area. If you go, you can actually feel that area vibrating. That also has a vagus nerve stimulating effect. And in fact, even the letter R, or gargling. Do the letter R, just like that, or gargling. That will also help activate the vagus nerve by stimulating that area right where the soft palate meets the hard palate, the top of the vagus nerve in the brain.
So that
yes,
that
very good, absolutely. That's what Om does. It's the same thing. Om is a hum. Om. In fact, the spiritual people who talk about Om a lot, I guess not talk about or write about Om, say that that's the universal sound. That is the sound that's the background sound of reality, is this Om sound. And when they say go Om, they're talking about resonating with that sound. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the fact is that sound causes a vibration inside the mouth, and that will activate by stimulating that area right where the soft palate meets the top palate. That will activate the vagus nerve, give you better vagus tone. You can also salivate, or you can trick the body into thinking that it's about to get some food, because food activates the vagus nerve, and the digestive process. When the digestive process kicks in, that's part of vagal stimulation. But you can't eat all the time, but you can trick the body to think you're eating. You know what you do? You chew gum. When you chew gum, you're turning on the vagus nerve, because the vagus thinks that food's supposed to be coming in. Also, if you could get yourself to salivate, either intentionally with your will, or by sucking on a gumdrop or a sour ball or something sour, or doing a little lemon juice or something, whatever it is, if you stimulate saliva either intentionally or with food, you'll also activate the vagus nerve. In fact, one thing that happens when people are scared, their mouth gets dry. A dry mouth is a sign of the stress response. Along the same lines, because the vagus nerve activates the digestive system, rubbing or tapping on your belly area. In fact, the vagus nerve, probably the closest you can get to the vagus nerve is right where the soft palate meets the top palate. But another area where you can get close to the vagus nerve is right where your belly button is. For most of us anyway, the vagus nerve is located deeper underneath fat in the top and in the bottom part of our body. But right around the belly button, you have a little bit closer access to the vagus nerve. So slapping the belly button can do it. Sighing, yawning, laughing, problem solving. These are all great ways to activate the vagus tone. When it comes to problem solving, there's a very interesting relationship between laughter and problem solving. Can you think of that? Does that make sense?
Laughter and problem solving.
Laughter and problem solving.
I had no idea there was a relationship.
There is a relationship. You see, you don't write jokes. I don't write jokes either. I've always wanted to write jokes. I've always been impressed by people who could write jokes. But here's how you write a joke. A joke is when tension is relieved. In a good joke, there's tension, and then there's a release of that tension.
Sure.
So it's like tension and then release, and that release causes laughter. Release of tension, which is problem solving, is the same thing to the vagus nerve as laughing at a good joke. Problem solving, release of tension, laughing at a good joke, all of these improve can have a vagal tone improving effect. Movement, dancing can improve vagal tone. Singing can enhance vagal tone. Sexual arousal can enhance vagal tone. All the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. So if you're in the shower, you should be singing in the shower. Warm water will activate the vagal tone. So sing in the shower and move around in the shower. Use your imagination how you want to do that, but whatever. Any way you could do that. Bending, jumping, shaking. All these are great ways to activate the strengthen the vagal tone and activate the vagal nerve. Petting an animal can do it. Taking care of a baby can do it. Pretty much all the things that are fun and enjoyable and pleasant in life are activating the vagal nerve, or strengthening vagal tone and activating the vagus nerve. Here's the thing. Dis-ease is dis-ease. It's when we're out of ease. Health, by definition, is ease. If you understand health as the opposite of death, as the opposite of dis-ease, health and disease, right? Those are antonyms. Those are opposites, right? So dis-ease is by definition ease. The vagal nerve is about ease. Strengthening vagal tone is about ease. Think about all, dis-ease manifests itself as a protective response. Inflammation, which is the calling card of all disease, and the immune system, which is the system that regulates inflammation, is all about defense. It's all about fighting things. It's all about surviving. This is our problem. If you want to put our problem, all our health issues, and we have thousands of them according to the medical model. There's tens of thousands of diagnoses, depending on who you ask. It's really all about being out of ease. Somehow not being comfortable in our own skin, not being comfortable in reality, not being comfortable in the world. So it should make perfect sense that by activating our comfort nervous system, the nerve and the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve is the key nerve in the parasympathetic nervous system. By activating the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system, putting the body back into ease, kicking in the neurology of all the good stuff, from sex to singing to movement to eating to dance to petting an animal to taking care of a loved one, all these wonderful things that we do in life, they're all hardwired to make us feel healthy, which tells you that our health problem is not just a physical health problem, but it's a lifestyle health problem. We got an unhealthy lifestyle. Our body is in constant emergency mode. And all of our health challenges are associated with this neural perception. Our nervous system perceives that we're in this constant emergency mode. So learning to activate the parasympathetic nervous system through all of these strategies, like laughing and breathing and singing and dancing and taking care of a pet or a baby, all of these represent not only wonderful ways for us to go back to health by activating the ease or the health, if you like, nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve, but it's also great for your babies. It's also great for the people you're taking care of. And it's also great for your peace of mind. And it's no accident that Alzheimer's disease is associated with the stress response, and that cognitive functioning, whether it's healthy cognitive functioning as a young person, or it's improving your cognitive functioning, your dementia patient, will improve when you strengthen the vagus nerve, when you improve the tone of the vagus nerve, when you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. All of this, by the way, Liam, is non-medical. Non-medical. You do this from the comfort of your own homes, living rooms, bathrooms, bedrooms. These are all non-medical strategies. Taking care of our hyperactive stress nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight nervous system, and reactivating or strengthening vagal tone and the parasympathetic nervous system is not a doctor issue. It's not a medical issue. It's a personal issue. It's our issue. And this is that if I had one thing that I want to leave the world with as my legacy, I want it to be the understanding that we can be our own health authorities. We could do this ourselves. Unless you get hit by a car, or a rock falls on your head, or you fall off your bike, or whatever kind of trauma happens to you, and traumas do happen, and we need people to fix those traumas, and praise God for people, medical folks who can do that. And I've been to the emergency room more than my share of times, unfortunately, for myself and along with other people. And let me tell you something. Those people working in those emergency rooms, they're from saints. They're angels from heaven.
Absolutely.
They are.
Absolutely.
Right? They are amazing. The kindness and the patience and the know-how and the techniques that these guys are experts in, that stuff should be lionized. And those are the people that should be put on a pedestal. But as far, if those medical professionals get an A+++, the medical professionals that are taking care of our diabetes and our multiple sclerosis and our dementias and Parkinson's disease, they get an F-. And it's not really their fault. It's not their fault because that's not their skill set. There's no skill set. Those are lifestyle issues. And that's what we want to get across. We want to get through our heads, is this idea that we are collapsing two separate skill sets. Because obviously the medical model is incredible when it comes to acute injury. I call that heroic medicine. we collapse the idea that they can do anything and that they're geniuses and they're super smart. And then when they screw up, we don't know how they could possibly screw up because they're doctors and they're medical people and they shouldn't screw up. The fact is that while they get an A+ here, that doesn't necessarily mean they get an A+ here, and they don't. But it doesn't matter. We don't need to blame them. It's our business. Activate your vagus nerve. Make sure you're taking care of your nutritional supplementation. Make sure that you're not, indulging in incredibly obscene amounts of calories and sugar and toxins and fried fats. And there's so many things we can do that require no medical intervention.
And
what do you think?
As we look at the vagus nerve through the lens of the triangle of disease, I can see where the adrenal complex, right, the relaxation,
Yes.
it addresses that point.
Yes.
I can see where it addresses the digestion point of the triangle of disease. Is there a way that it directly addresses the blood sugar system?
Absolutely. Under conditions of sympathetic activation, the opposite of the vagus nerve, sugar is released from the liver. When you're under stress, the body needs a quick burst of energy to run from a saber-toothed tiger. It needs sugar. Sugar gives you quick emergency energy, so the body has developed a system for releasing sugar from the liver when there's a stressful situation. Chronic release of sugar from the liver is one of the problems associated with insulin resistance and diabetes. So the vagus nerve, by strengthening your vagus nerve, you can help keep keep the sugar in the liver. You can reduce this process of sugar being released from the liver into the bloodstream and cut off a stream of sugar that raises blood glucose and creates insulin resistance issues and all the other problems associated with diabetes. So yes, the vagus nerve, by calming the body down, reduces blood sugar levels because it affects how the liver is releasing sugar in emergency or sympathetic nervous system situations, sympathetic nervous system activating situations.
Yeah, I love that concept. Owning the tone. Own the tone of the vagus nerve.
Liam, own the tone.
Own the tone, baby.
Own the tone. All right, I like that. I'm going to use that. Thank you.
Whether you're meditating, the tone of your life, hugging a baby, like you say, petting your favorite pet.
Warm water.
Warm water.
I always tell, I used to say this joke. People laugh when I say this, but it's true. If we really cared about health, if we really cared about healthcare, if we were really concerned about healthcare in this country, instead of national health insurance or Obamacare, we would have national hot tub insurance, where the government pays for a hot tub in everybody's backyard, because that's going to strengthen your vagal tone. That's going to activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
Then,
right?
Future president, vote for you.
Me.
I would vote for you in a heartbeat. All right, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for watching. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Leave your questions and comments for us to check out, and we'll get to them next week. All right, Ben, it's been about 30 minutes, 28 minutes and counting. Good deal. All right, so thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday, same time. So take care, everyone. See you next time.